r/ask Reddit. What were some times when you died inside? Being 45 minutes into a 1-hour drive to a meeting to realize you left the main reason for the meeting at home. Man, I felt this. I drove nearly 1 hour through the rush hour traffic just to realize at my destination that I now have to do it all again. Yay, let's waste 3 hours. At least it won't be rush hour on the way back. Edit. Yeah folks, I get it. Traffic is bad in your city. I was on a school trip to a preschool and I had bad gas. I was chilling on the floor and this little girl jumped on my stomach and I ripped ass so ducking hard. I'm sorry but that's hilarious. But he probably had something dead inside him. I crochet and my old boss at work asked me for a scarf. He requested lilac, which I thought was odd. But he was super insistent and even sent me a color chart pointing out the exact shade he wanted. I bought the yarn and made him a scarf, but then ran into him and mentioned the scarf again and he started cracking up saying he was joking. Definitely embarrassing, but I'm glad I didn't actually bring it with me and give him the scarf only to find out he was being an a-hole. I wound up giving it to another co-worker who was watching the whole thing play out and she was super appreciative. Should have charged him for the wool and labor. Dong. This is one of those occasions when a person could really suck the air out of the room and just make it super awkward. No, I definitely made it for you. I spent a lot of time on it and bought the materials. I definitely don't think that you, in a management position, would ever ask for us to perform wasteful and time-consuming tasks that you weren't serious about. I will leave the scarf on your desk tomorrow. Not caring about how uncomfortable a situation gets is almost a superpower. Edit. I didn't mean for this thread to go full TED Talk motivational speaker. Walked halfway across campus before a random dude let me know that I had a string of toilet paper hanging out of the back of my pants. There was poop. Just kill me. I always wonder how this happens. Please describe your wiping methods in detail. I'll be waiting patiently. Edit. My inbox is now a literal shithole. Please describe your wiping methods in detail. I'll be waiting patiently. I feel like typing this out would be the point at which I'd really stop and think about my life. That time I left school while chatting to friends and spotted my mum's car. Got in said car and uttered the usual thanks for picking me up mum, only to realize that it was not in fact my mum's car, but a complete stranger and their family. Were they good sports about it at least? I kinda sat there for a minute staring while my brain came to the decision that yes, this is indeed the wrong car. Perhaps I should get out. The dad just said wrong car and I left and pretended that nobody saw my horrifying mistake. My girlfriend decided she liked my best friend more. Broke up with me. Tried to get with him but he friend-zoned her right off the bat. It was sad for a long time but now I think it's hilarious. Her best friend is a bro. Hell yeah he is. It was pretty funny. She was all texting him about wanting to get with him and he texted back and friend-zoned her. I was there. I was supposed to fill in for the coach of my son's soccer team this weekend, but plans changed. This morning I told my son I wouldn't be coaching his team on Saturday. He said, good, dead inside. Maybe he is just shy? Anything but. He's 13 and parents are embarrassing. When I was 17, depressed and was seriously considering ending my life, I wanted to know how my mother had died. She died when I was 2, so I never knew her. Before I decided on killing myself, I wanted to know how she had passed away. So one day in the car, just me and my dad, I asked my dad how she died. He didn't say anything for like a full-on minute and I was nervous about his reaction. So when I finally looked at him, there were tears running down his face. It was that moment I felt like a piece of crap for wanting to end my life. What made it worse was that when he finally gathered himself, he told me she had hung herself due to her BPD, borderline personality disorder. So I felt like an even bigger piece of crap. So just seeing how 15 years after she died that was how he reacted when asked how she died, I knew I couldn't make him feel that way again. So I wasn't living for myself but to stop him from going through that again. Edit. I did not expect this to blow up. Thank you all for the kind messages and responses. Yeah, I'm doing good now. Me and my dad have had many rough patches but all sort through it in the end. Family is a strong bond and I'm thankful I worked my way through my depression. Was 7 years ago when this all happened. Also thanks for the shines. Never had any before. Hannah. Edit 2. For those asking how I got through it, I had to distract myself. I didn't have many friends, just people who didn't mind my presence, but I would often isolate myself due to social anxiety. So I played video games, listened to music and watched anime, specifically slice of life anime that really help you appreciate life. Once I got a job, I started to heal as I was interacting with people who didn't know me from high school. I still had bouts of depression, but having a goal to work towards, whether it be through gaming or my job, really helped. Sometimes living for other people is what it takes to survive through a suicidal period. Sometimes just living for yourself isn't enough. I'm glad you're still here. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect half the responses I've gotten on here. You guys are amazing. I want to hug each and every one of you and tell you that it'll be okay. The sun will come up again tomorrow and there will be something else worth living for. I love you all. My inbox is always open if you need a friendly stranger or just a shoulder to cry on. At 16 years old, I decided to live for my sister. 8 years later, I needed to live for my son. 9 years on, and now there are so many people in my life to live for, including myself. I had a customer who was holding and examining an awkward, fragile, and expensive item with one hand. I asked her to please hold it with two. She turned to look at me. She only had one arm. You know, out of all the great answers in this thread, this is the one that actually made me laugh out loud. I can almost picture your face as she turns around. Turn beat red, mumble out an apology, go take a bathroom break till she leaves. Was on a TV quiz show and totally ducked up. Died inside when it was aired. With that username. It happens though. I knew someone who was on Family Feud. Name a place kids like to go in the summer. School. Dough. What animal do we eat, but doesn't eat us? Well, why you know, Grant. I want to change my answer. I realized it's not totally accurate because I have seen a pig eat a man. In fact, I've seen many pigs eat many men. It was a bloodbath. 6th grade all-day field trip to SeaWorld Orlando. Surprise period through my white shorts. All the moms who wanted to help only had tampons. I was 11 and had no idea how to use them. There ensued an embarrassing crash course. I was devastated until random dad saved the day by giving me his windbreaker to tie around my waist and told me to go have fun. Thanks random field trip dad. You saved the day. What a great story of human kindness. Not all heroes wear capes. Windbreakers are twice as useful. Having to repeat a clever off-the-cuff joke because the person was focusing on their phone. Ouch, don't repeat it. The mannerless oaf doesn't deserve to hear your joke. Just say shoulder been listening, dude, and laugh. When I was about 13, my dad took me aside one night and apologized for putting so much effort into supporting my twin brother and so little into supporting me. I always assumed he was just smarter / physically more gifted. Turns out he and my mother had actively and knowingly neglected me in order to encourage my brother's achievements. Happened all through my schooling. They paid thousands for his sporting trips, and when I had the same opportunities they just didn't have the money. Still kills me inside now. Edit. Wow. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. I am doing well now and it really only made me a more resilient person. Was a big oof when it happened, but it made me who I am. Surprising how many twins are in the exact same situation. Edit 2. For those asking, there was no real reason given in the explanation from dad and nothing really changed after. At 13 it was the norm and even now it's pretty standard. I still love my dad and my brother. Dad gave me more than most have and he did it as a single parent, so I don't hold it against him. I'm a guy with a twin sister. My dad made it known that they expected me to do well on my own while they unabashedly supported my sister. It still killed me on our 16th birthday when she got a car in the driveway wrapped in a big bow and I got the weed whacker sitting next to it. That sucks. I'm sorry your parents are so shitty. Sadly, I can relate to parents being biased towards a sibling. Sigh. When you're having a conversation with your friends and you keep getting talked over like you never said anything, and by the time someone does acknowledge you the subject has changed, so they all give you a weird look for being so behind, and it keeps happening and you realize that these people aren't really your friends, you're just kind of there. I get this so much. Just being on the fringes. Not really included. I'm sorry this happens to you. Real friends who value your input are out there. You will find them. I think the moment you realize that no one gives a shit about what you're even saying is the worst, and you kinda just sink into yourself and become all quiet BC. You can't be bothered in being in the conversation anymore. When I realized I lost my passion for writing and playing music and quit my bands. They both had success after I left. That was about 10 years ago. Trying to get my groove back now. Edit. No, I don't think I'm gonna tell you about them. But if you follow post-rock experimental music, you may have heard of them. Successful as in the music is getting heard by a lot of people and they're touring. But they still have jobs when they're home. What area are you in? And more importantly, how long would I need you in my band before kicking you out in order to become successful? Folks, how about a round of applause for our new fill and guitarist Good Luck Chuck? Interviewing a potential student who is interested in my school. He has a huge green circle around his eye. Whoa, quite a black eye. What did you do? I was born like this. Oh wow, I did this once at my job when I was in high school. I worked with this guy for 3 years. And one day he had this huge cut all the way up his arm. I asked him what happened and he looked down and awkwardly told me he had psoriasis and was having a flare up. All I could say was no way, so does Kim Kardashian. You could be famous made almost 0 cents and I felt so bad. He was cool about it though. I'm sure that kid wasn't too upset. He knows what's up. As someone who has psoriasis and flares, concern and kindness are always appreciated over EWW gross, or is it contagious? While backing away. I went to an interview once where one of the 2 people interviewing me asked if I knew French. I said I knew core French, so they decided to conduct the interview completely in French. I can understand when someone speaks French to me. I can read and write fluently in French. But I can't for the life of me speak French. It was so bad that one of the interviewers got up and left halfway through and didn't come back. Needless to say, I didn't get the job. Edit. I was drenched in sweat by the end of it. Never forgetty. Edit. I'm not trying to criticize or hate on French people. It was just a sweaty situation I slipped myself into that forever changed me. I have become one with cringe. On my CV I always write that I can read and write in French instead of saying that I speak it, because this sounds terrifying. I haven't spoken French in a good while, but I watch films and read it, etc. Once created a painting for a friend. Hung it up on the door to my apartment as a surprise. It was easily bypassed. He asked, "What's with people around here? You let people put shitty vacation ads on your door?" Never again. For those asking, I live in West Virginia. It was a painting of one of our favorite spots we would seek when hiking. This happened in Morgantown and it's called Blue Hole. Not really sure of the actual name of the river. He showed me the place. Lots of people go swimming there, but he knew a secret spot. It was a view from the exit of the trees of our favorite area. Honestly, a lot of people had things like that in Morgantown and around the state, which is why I think he easily overlooked it. I did not tell him at that time. I was so embarrassed. I was glad he didn't figure it out. Eventually I did tell him when we were drunk. Yay, liquid courage. And I could see everything click in his head. He was sorry, but we've gotten past it. Edit for spelling and context. Extremely forced grin. Oh my god, what you actually painted throughout? I read this in Stewie Griffin's voice. Introducing myself to my mom every time I visit her and explaining to her that I'm her son. Every single time. Alzheimer's is the most ducked up thing. The person is there, but is not. My grandma had it and I could see how much it would destroy my dad to talk to her. She thought that her youngest son was 4, not a grown man with family, and would constantly ask about him. Clearly loved him more than anything, but couldn't see he was right there with her. Described perfectly. Friend. My papal grandfather can't understand his kids are grown up, so he calls my sister and I his son and daughter. He still loves his real kids, but you can tell he doesn't know why sometimes. At a company event, as we left, my colleagues were nowhere to be found as I walked outside, so I waited there. Turns out they were taking a group photo without me. My friends did this at prom. I am constantly forgotten about at work, social gatherings, and among my friends group. Once my co-workers invited me to lunch with them. I said great, let me know when you're leaving. 2 PM rolls around and I'm hungry, so I ask when we're going to lunch. Oh, we already ate. I've had a friend ask me why I wasn't at a party before, only to find out that no one remembered to tell me about it, or notice or text me during it. It sucks. I have friends, but I feel very alone most of the time. Last year a work friend of mine died. After his funeral, a large group of us went to pub to have a few drinks in remembrance of him. Someone suggested to get a group photo of everyone there. I was asked to take the photo. It probably shouldn't have bothered me as much as it did, but it did. I'm sorry for your loss. That's ducking rude of those people. I don't think they meant anything by it, but I guess the fact that they didn't mind that I wasn't in the picture said a lot. I received a set of boxes in the mail with no return address on a Monday morning. When I opened the boxes I started noticing stuff that is my mom's. Her handwriting on notes. This seems to be some sort of care package from my mom. Open bracket. Was in college at the time. As I opened more, there were all these documents. I was confused. Then I found a note. My mom committed suicide but planned it all out. She sent me a list of things to take care of now that she's gone. Now I hate getting packages. I'm so sorry, mate. I hope things turn it around and get better. Ty for the kind words. Time has helped heal the pain a bit and things are going well now. One night after going to a concert with one of my friends and I dropped him off at his house. As he was getting out of the car, he started looking for something. When I asked him what he was looking for, he said, "I think I lost my weed." He had about a half an eighth left in a baggie and gave up after looking around a bit, concluding he lost it at the show. Cut to 10 minutes later, and I, on the way home, got pulled over for not coming to a full stop at a stop sign. As the cop approached the car, the thought of my friend's lost bag crossed my mind. The cop went through the usual routine, asked for my license and registration, asked where I'd been that evening. Have I had anything to drink? Is there anything in the car he needed to know about? I answered everything flawlessly, but then as he's standing there, I see something catch his eye as he's looking in, and he shined a flashlight inside on it, and asked, "What's that?" I died inside when I looked over and saw, perfectly framed in the spotlight, my friend's bag of weed on the passenger side floor. How he didn't find it while looking around I'll never understand. Somehow, I was able to articulate my case that it wasn't my weed but my dumbass friend's well enough that he took pity on me and just confiscated it and let me off with a warning for that, plus a $70 ticket for the stop sign. Do you think the cops ever keep it and blaze up? My old co-workers were hanging out behind the restaurant after closing shift and a cop pulled up. One of them had a bowl, and the cop just gave them a warning and confiscated the bowl. He went to a garbage can and put his hand, holding the bowl, in the flap. After he left, my co-workers went to retrieve it and the garbage can was empty. So yeah, I'd say they're definitely willing to, just a matter of getting around drug testing, which I know nothing about for cops. When my mother told me on my wedding day not to lose this man because no one could ever love me, same day telling me in my wedding dress not to gain any more weight because if I have a baby I'd basically be fat forever. When I was 14 and super sick one summer I couldn't eat, was down below 100 pounds. My mom told me I should go put a bikini on so she could take photos because I'd never be that skinny again. I had just fainted a couple hours earlier because I hadn't been able to eat. She just oozed all her own insecurities all over me my whole life. My husband and I have been married almost 16 years. He has spent our entire marriage undoing all of the damage he has done. He's a son. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.